I mean, second minute we had a shot, which was phenomenal to see. So it skied, but
it was not on goal, but it was a shot.
No,
We'll take it.
Yeah, and I think that throughout portions of this game, we'll get into it in a lot more detail later on after we hit up the press conference. But I thought that there were portions of this game when we were really on the front foot, and this was not a phenomenal game by any means, but it was a very good, decent game from DC United, and it's been a while since we've really seen that. So it was very refreshing. You saw the talent on the field, and you saw what this team could do.
Yeah, to me, it's just this game felt like progress. We've been talking around progress for a little while, but this game felt like actual meaningful progress.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we had good build-up. We had good chances. It was really unfortunate to see Abu go down. That was pretty heartbreaking.
Hard tackle and an important tackle for him.
It was, yeah. Yes.
He looked like he was in pain.
Oh, yeah, you could tell. And I hope he's okay. I hope it's nothing too serious. Maybe just one of those, deep bone bruises, which is what Steven's been out with for a little while.
This team this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit ridiculous when they would pan up to DC United's little injured area in the stadium, because they basically had their own area, right? Even in a full stadium, they would have had their own area. So.
And it became a Griffin Yao stand section.
It did.
I mean,
my gosh!
I made the joke, which I probably shouldn't have, but like, Paul, don't tear your other ACL cheering. You love to see how excited the whole team was. And
yeah.
Kevin ran over and was thrilled.
Yeah. Oh, I love those moments when you can see the relationships among and between the teammates, and you could see. I mean, Yao was pointing up to him. Paul was clearly very fired up. You can tell that there's a very close relationship there. And I love to see that they got to celebrate that moment together, even though Paul wasn't on the field. And then even afterwards, everyone was running back into the lineup. Yao and Paredes were having a moment together, obviously, like the two youngsters. So it's just great to see, I think.
Yeah, I'm happy with the result tonight. It felt for a long while when it was 1-2 for what it felt like most of the game that DC United was on the wrong side of the result. They played better than a 1-2 loss, I felt.
Yeah.
Westberg had a good game. He was fortunate a couple times. Assad hits the bar early, and after he calibrated a little bit. But it was.
We'll talk about that for sure tonight. It does look like we're getting ready to hear from Coach Ben Olsen, and we'll be receiving word here in just a few moments of which players we're expecting to hear from tonight. But we are live here on Tried and True, the DC United postgame podcast presented by Heineken. Obviously, we're down a man tonight. Michael Black is on vacation. We hope he's having a good time and watching, but it looks like we're ready to go to the press conference. We'll send it to Coach Ben Olsen.
After another injury.
I thought, I'm just super proud of Griffin. I'm super proud of, Moses. I'm super proud of Kevin. I thought all three brought really good energy to the game. And, Griff has really grown this year. And last year he was fairly stagnant as a player. And this year, I think he's really committed himself to being a pro. And he's got a lot of really interesting qualities, but one of his best qualities as a player is he just seems to be one of those players that gets real chances and smells chances and is 20 yards in, he can manufacture things, and he's so tonight it was it was him kind of smelling where the ball was coming, and then he did a great job of seeing the play out, and it's a great result for us. It really is. I'm proud of him, and gave up I think a soft goal on the first one. We got to do better there, and again, Donovan's growing as a player, but he still has some moments where you see some youth, and that's part of his development plan as well. Speaking of another young guy. But overall, a lot of good performances on the night. I thought our structure defensively was, in particular, the first half before Abu's injury was good. I thought we frustrated them and limited them to very few big chances. Yeah, they had some shots, but most of them were outside the box. And then in transition, the first half, I thought we could have been sharper. There were times to punish them, and we didn't. We let them off the hook, whether it was a shot from 50 or guys not playing the simple ball on the break. So overall, it was good. In the second half, again, another guy goes down. Who Abu has been playing at a really high level, and he's helped us quite a bit over the last few games, and that hurts. And then the game was choppy, and we had some young guys on. We figured it out, though. I think towards the end, our subs did great. But I thought Pipa had one of his best nights with us. Some, good service and good tempo to his game, and Sorga came in and gave us a chance or two.
Thanks, Ben. We'll go to Pablo next. Pablo, go ahead.
Hey, Ben. A couple questions. I wonder if you have any idea as to the extent of Mobu's injury yet. And additionally, Ola obviously was brought to the team as sort of a proven MLS goal scorer, but kind of by all accounts got off to a pretty slow start. I'm curious what you think his prospects are this year, and if his goal tonight you think may give him a little shot in the arm that he needs.
I think so. When you're a goal scorer, it's what you're judged on, and Ola's been doing for the last month. He's been doing a lot of work for us on the defensive end, and he's sharp tactically, so he really understands and helps us on the defensive end. But again, when you buy a forward to come here and score goals, that's still what you're going to be judged on. And it was great to see him, get rewarded with good pressure and see that play out. And yeah, as a goal scorer, I was never one of them, but when one goes in, I think that goal looks a little bigger each time, and I think hopefully this will give him a little bit more confidence in front of the net and see some more plays out. But as I said before, we got to be better as a team to get him more looks than we've given him over the last month. It's been few and far between the chances he gets, and if he misses one, then it's so we got to try to get him 2 or 3 a game.
Benny, then just on Abu's injury, do you have any idea as to the extent of it yet?
Sorry. The mechanism or the way it went down, I would guess that it's an MCL. You hope for an MCL because when it comes to the knee, that's probably the best case scenario. But we'll get a scan on it, and it was a brave play from him, but the power of the strike and I think his knee gave way a little bit. So we'll see the extent of that.
Thanks, Ben. We'll go to Emily Olsen next. Emily, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. First of all, it's been a while since this team has scored early like they did tonight. How does it feel to be able to come into the game and get that goal? And then a quick follow-up to that, can you describe a little bit more how Pippa changed the game when he came in?
Well, I don't think it was necessarily just Pippa. I think, again, it was we changed tactics to put their backs under a little bit more, and Kevin and being wide. When we came in, he was more of a second forward. Then we pushed him out wide left and let Griff go a little bit higher in his natural spot, and so we were able to get pressure on them. And I think overload the wings, and that freed up Pipa. And when he's available and kind of overloading on the left, overloading on the right, and staying a little bit higher in the attack, he's a dangerous player. Some of the balls that he switched the point of attack on were pretty special, and the one that leads to Eric Sorga's chance from Griff was a great little play there. And so, yeah, he just brought quality. He always brings a little bit of a different look. And I was happy that he stayed higher. When he comes in, sometimes he comes and plays a little lower. And we asked him to kind of trust our midfield and stay a little higher where he could do some damage offensively and get near the goal, and he did a great job coming in.
All right, great. Hey, Ben, I think Emily had a two-part question. She asked about scoring early. I'm not sure if you
I'm
could
sorry, Emily. I'm tired, Emily.
It's okay. It's okay. No, it was just it has been
Yeah,
almost exactly a year since you scored the first half.
we scored 2 goals on a run of play, and it's been a little bit since we scored 2 goals as well. So that's good, and that helps. And I think from attacking standpoint, the last 2 games we've created quite a few chances, and that's a that's a positive. Again, the structure that we're in with the 4-back is a little bit more natural to us, and I think you see that in some of the relationships and how we can get at teams. We still are a work in progress, and we're still down, and now another guy, and it's a little bit of a war of attrition this season, in particular for us. And I'm proud of the guys to keep their spirits high and be able to grind out a point tonight when it wasn't an easy night. Things didn't go our way, but we hung in there, and the subs did a good job. First half was great. Could have been up 2-0 at Yamil's chance. It was a really good chance off the bar, a little bit unlucky. So overall, we'll take the point. We got a quick turnaround in Nashville, who is a good team for expansion squad, and then back here against New England. So it's a long weekend. It's going to take everybody, but we'll start to get hopefully Russell and Steve back in this. Yordy Reyna, we'll see how quickly we can bring him into the fold. So points like this during this time go a long way.
Thanks, Ben. We'll do 2 more questions. Jason Anderson, you're up next. Go ahead.
Ben, thanks for taking the time. Obviously, you played the diamond last week. You seemed positive with a lot of what you saw from that. Tonight, you switched it up to the flatter midfield. What went into that choice?
One was personnel. One was, another reason was there were some tactical defensive issues, I think, with the diamond, in particular against Toronto. So we wanted to flatten out that midfield a little bit so we could deal with their wide overloads. And for the most part, I thought it was pretty effective. They're scary down the right, Larea and Piatti, super speed, dynamic. You saw some of the trouble they posed us over there, but we hung in there. And then again, with that kind of box, it was flat defensively, but, offensively at times it looked like a box. And I thought we did a good job of finding Yamil and Julian in those pockets and releasing our forwards. So again, talked about some of the decision making when we did find Yamil and Julian or a forward, and we were able to release. We didn't always make the greatest decision, and I thought if we did that more, we could have had more of the ball and more sustained possessions and made them work a little bit. But yeah, that's my sense. Kevin needed a rest as well. When you have a young kid like that and he's playing this many minutes, it's a lot on a young body like that. So there were some signs at his knee and some tight hamstring the last game that it wasn't the smartest thing to push him 90.
Thanks, Ben. Last question. We'll go to Jimena. Jimena, go ahead.
Coach, I appreciate your time. Do you have a preference of shots being taken from outside the box?
One more time, Jimena.
Do you have a preference of shots being taken from outside the box?
Do I have a preference?
Yes.
Well, I will say offensively, I prefer that our shots are inside the box, and then defensively, I prefer the opponents to shoot outside the box. That would be a perfect scenario.
Great. Ben, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Classic Ben Olsen there to wind out the press conference. Listen, guys, we're expecting to hear any minute from Frederick Briant as well as goal scorer Griffin Yao here. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what the players have to say. But Ben obviously covering a lot of ground there, and the two things that stuck out to me is he went as far as to say it. the dude's tired. This team's put in an awful lot of work over the past few weeks. It's been busy. It's been hectic, and this team is battered. And losing Abu again is frustrating. And hopefully, Ben Olsen, medical doctor, was trying to diagnose him on the spot there. But I'm with him. Hopefully, it's an MCL and nothing more serious, because this team can't really handle too many more injuries at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it was really rough to see. I was surprised that Ben even ventured a guess. I will definitely be just waiting for that announcement. Hopefully, it's like not too bad. Again, I'm hoping for like a bone bruise or something that doesn't actually like require surgery an extended amount of time out. I don't know. He did cover a lot of ground. It was interesting what he said about Higuain having his best game so far. And I didn't necessarily see that. I didn't think he
maybe it was
bad.
for the coaching. That Ola goal looked a lot like the one Pipa scored in Orlando, where he rips the ball, I think, off of Omar. I don't know. I'm just joking around.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out a reason for that. I don't think Pipa was necessarily great. When he comes on, we play that weird, just like get the ball in the best player's hands or feet in the soccer. But
it's one of those things. I mean, I guess we saw it. We talked a little bit about it. Pipa was not happy with Joseph Mora, for a run he didn't make, late in the game. And I think that's one of the pieces that's just invaluable with a guy like him on the field. Of like, not only is he frustrated,
he understands,
right, but then he's immediately in their head saying like, this is what you needed to do that next time, right?
Yeah.
Because instead of me kicking the ball out of bounds in frustration because I'm out of space, right, I can make a pass that's going to put us in a position to score a goal.
Yeah. I think we saw that a little bit too. There were a couple times when like Toronto had the ball really deep and we just weren't pressuring them, and it looked like had we like made that run towards them, we maybe could have gotten the ball, but instead it was a little bit of just a jog to like go through the motions. So I think that there were definitely opportunities for us to have been on the front foot a lot more. But I think we did have our chances.
Yeah, in one of the notes that I was taking, really right before Griffin's equalizer, was it felt again in a way a little bit like the last game against the Red Bulls, where the attack just kind of fizzled out in the second half a little bit. And I don't know if that's a result of just so many changes with all the substitutions being made. And all jokes aside, DC United typically doesn't change players a whole lot in a game. And so to do it, 5 times with regularity in the second half of a game, I don't know if that's part of the reason why we're seeing things fizzle out a little bit. But the first half, whole half, there were shots going.
You're absolutely right. I think that does say a lot to like what these players are going through and what they're experiencing. Being without what you would deem our starting lineup. I mean, basically all the players who are injured right now would be in the starting lineup. But I think that it just shows it more, right? Because Ben's not somebody who's known to be making those subs all the time. He's known for making really late subs. So the fact that he's using all 5 really says something to what these guys are doing, which, I mean, honestly, the fact that he used all 5 tonight and we were still able to come out and look pretty good in that first half, and then kind of at the end of the second half, we got another little spark in us going forward. So I think that says a lot, and it's probably going to give these guys a lot of confidence going into the next game.
Yeah, I think all the subs made a difference tonight. Sorga looked really good when he came on. Maybe not as active in that lull of the game that you were just talking about, but towards the end, I mean, he was the only people who were 100% for shots on target were Eric Sorga and Griffin Yao, with 2 for Yao and 1 for Sorga. The rest of the team is like, I think Ola was 3 for 1 and Rivas might have been 3 for nothing.
Those had some shots though, right? We were creating chances and getting in front of the goal.
We had like 14 shots or 12 shots tonight, which is a complete change of pace than what we saw 2-3 games ago.
Yeah, well, and we do need to talk about it a little bit. I mean, you and I were talking a little bit during the press conference there, and it looks like we are almost ready. We're bringing the camera back up, so we'll be getting to Fred Briant here in just a second. But after Fred speaks, I'm going to want to talk a little bit about the striker situation on this team. Obviously, the team bringing in another option, which we'll talk about here shortly. But Ola Kamara gets on the board tonight, but I don't know. He might have been the 3rd best striker that was on the pitch for the Black and Red tonight. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
I'm excited for that conversation.
Yeah, if you're listening at home and you're in the YouTube chat, or you're live on Periscope, or tweet at us using the hashtag #TriedAndTrueDCU, and we'll send it now to Frederick Briant.
He came in and he bring good energy like he did during the tournament, And it's all the time good, to have this kind of player who came in and bring energy, bring good spirit for the team, and with the young legs, they are ready to run, especially when it's the end of the game. The team become tired, and this kind of player brings something special for the team. And he did a very good game today, and I'm very happy for him for the goal. He deserves it.
Thanks, Fred. We'll go to Jason Anderson next. Jason, go ahead.
Hi, Fred. Thanks for taking the time with us. Obviously, down in Orlando, you guys had another 2-2 draw. You scored the late goal, obviously, again today. It seems like every time these teams meet, this is how it goes. It's a tie with a late goal. What is it that's happening between DC United and Toronto FC? Is it just a coincidence, or is there something between the teams that allows this to keep happening?
I think it's just a coincidence, Today I think we were good. The organization was good. We conceded 2 goals. For me, it was too easy. We didn't give them too many chances, but in the end we conceded 2 goals, And one more time, we show a good mentality, good fighting spirit, and we came back in the game. And we expected more for sure for this game, but in the end, we show good mentality, and I think we improve a little bit more each game as a team, as a group, and I think we are going in the right way right now. This is the feeling the group have, the team have, and also the staff.
Thanks, Fred. We'll
But
go
to answer on your question, I think is only a coincidence. Yeah.
Thanks, Fred. We'll go to Jimena next. Jimena, go ahead.
Fred, thank you for your time. As a captain, what can you do to help the team better the short passing game?
Say again. I didn't hear what you said in the end.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, as a captain, what can you do to help the team better the short passing game?
We need points right now. So the task is not very, very tough for me. I try to help the team, and we know as a team what we need. We need points to get the playoff. So we have to show every game. And now this game is finished. Is a pass. Now we are focused on the next game against Nashville. We have to turn our mind directly because the game is going quickly. It's coming quickly. So no, it's not very easy for me to talk with my teammates because we are in the same way, and we are I said before, we have a very good character in this team, good fighting spirit, and we know exactly what we want. And now it's not enough. But it's like that. This is the situation right now. So, like I said, we improve each game. We're getting better, but we need points. So my task is not so complicated right now.
Thanks, Fred. We'll go to Emily Olsen next. Emily, go ahead.
Hey, Fred, it's been a while since you guys have scored as early as you did in today's game. How does that affect the energy of a game to score within the first 5-6 minutes?
Yeah, this is what I was thinking when we scored the goal. It was a good feeling because we were well organized. When we had the ball, we were very good. The counter attack was very good. The run behind also, I think it was the reward. And this goal was very good. The pressure Ola did, and his score in the end was perfect. So it's a very good feeling to start the game like that. It's easier to start the game with a goal for us than against, And in the end, we finished the half, with the draw. But it's always a good feeling to start with a goal for us, and especially this. The way we scored the goal, and I'm very happy for Ola because there is new striker coming right now with Rivas, and we saw today the new striker, and it's always tough to get a new striker in the team for the striker, and I think is the reward for him because he's a hard worker, and he tried to help the team sometimes he run without the ball, and this kind of run help the team. So he's not only when he get the ball, he's also when he run for the team. Even if he didn't receive the ball, he's a hard worker. So I'm very happy for him, and today I'm happy for also the team, for Griff, for the guys who came in, because it was a big difference when the guys came in. All the guys, Pipa was fantastic today. He has the ball. Griff was good. Mo was good. I think this is the way we have to compete all the time as a group. We have some injury right now, and all the players who are there try to fight and try to get their post, and also doing the best for the team. So I think we are in the good way, I hope, and we're gonna do our best to get points and get the playoff.
Thanks, Fred. There's no other questions. Really
long and swear. Maybe I was far from the question, but yeah.
You're good, Fred. No worries. Thank you. There's no more questions, so I appreciate your time.
That's DC United's current captain, Frederic Briant, at the mic. And we'll be hearing from Griffin Yao here in just a few moments. But, Fred referenced it, and we do need to talk a bit about it. The team gave up 2 goals tonight. Neither one was well defended at all. The first one, I think we all kind of made the joke. I don't want to see Donovan Pines go airborne defending ever again. That was not. He tried to make a good play, and it really blew up in our face there. It turned into an easy goal, and it probably could have been a corner kick that was conceded, and maybe we're talking about a different result here. So that's frustrating, but obviously, as Ben alluded to, these young guys are going to take their lumps sometimes, and that's how you learn to get better.
Yeah, you could see, and I can almost see it coming back to Fred's mind during those questions, but you could see it immediately after the goal that he was frustrated with that. I mean, it must be hard. He's used to, for the time he's been here, he's been used to Birnbaum, and Pines has been in and out and more in recently, but he's still shown moments like that where it's just like a little raw, like you shouldn't do that, but that'll go away with time.
Well, and the thing I'll give Donovan, because I said it to you guys during the game, that was a bad play, and the rest of his game tonight was where it's been for the last few weeks, right? I mean, it did not bother him in the least that he made that critical mistake, and he just picked up where he left off and had largely a pretty decent game.
Yeah, no, he went toe-to-toe with Josie later and stopped the goal there, and then he gets that. I mean, he looked like he was playing Twister when he stepped in on Pozuelo's shot and
remember
blocked that
Twister? Could you imagine that game in the world of COVID?
Oh my goodness,
really impossible.
It's about to go bankrupt. No, and I think it's a good point that he is still a young player who's finding his spot in the team, right? He's like 5 years older than the quote unquote young players, that group that we're talking about right now. And he's also, he's been with the team for a couple of years. Obviously, injury kept him out of even being on the bench for a while there. So I feel like I expect a little more from him, because he is a more veteran, I guess, than like Yao and Paredes and Moses are. But he is still finding his groove and figuring it out. And I mean, you're completely right. I think he made that massive mistake, and he definitely made other mistakes throughout the game, but he didn't let it affect him. He definitely brushed it off and like made a lot of key plays.
He looks comfortable out there nowadays, and I'm sure that's a product of getting minutes at this level consistently. It's interesting. Obviously, he's getting a ton of minutes with Fred, and I think most DC United fans, even last year, we were hoping we were going to have
the kid Griffin.
All right, let's cut to the press conference.
That whole sequence, when you saw the ball come off the Toronto defenders and was drifting into your path, and also after you described that, just that release of emotion down in the corner in front of us after scoring.
Yeah, I think first off, I was told by the coaching staff, so props off to them to, on that wide ball to get in the box. Even though we did switch formations at the end and I was playing more of an outside back position, I was still told to be in the box. So as soon as I saw the ball approach, I knew I would have to hit it in one for it to be a shot on target. So it was left footed, and it hit off my foot really well, and got great contact on it. So that was an amazing feeling, honestly. Quite like the Betis goal, but I think this one felt a little bit better because it was in the dying moments, and it was against a team who, we kind of had a little bit of beef with last game, and we really wanted to get a point out of this game. So I think that release of emotions in the corner was partly because of that.
Awesome, Griffin. Thanks, man. We'll go to Jason Anderson next. Jason, go ahead.
Hey, Griffin, congrats on the first MLS goal. Ben mentioned in his remarks that you've grown a lot as a player this year. What do you think you've worked on the most that has panned out to getting more time in these MLS games?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just really been confidence and been mindset because last year was a bit of an integration year for me, trying to see what everything is like in the MLS. Obviously, my first year, and this year I've just been really trying to get back to playing the way I play. Whether that's with the youth national team or with the back when I was with the academy. I really just want to, open up and play the way that, I know I can play and play the way that got me here, basically. So I think he's done a really, really good job in, boosting my confidence and pushing me along. So, can't thank him enough for that. So definitely.
Awesome. Thanks, Griffin. We'll go to Emily Olsen next. Emily, go ahead.
Griffin, it's to score your first your league goal in an empty stadium must be a little weird. Can you first kind of describe Paul Arriola and the interaction when you saw him and right before the rest of the team kind of came in to celebrate?
Yeah, I think honestly, me and Paul have been, super, super tight from the very beginning. He's always been someone who's supported me and someone who's helped me out big time. So after I think he actually got to the corner flag, the corner of the stands before I even got there. And that was with a torn ACL. So that's pretty impressive. I think he was pretty excited as well. So to see him, to see him match my energy and to see that he was super excited as well. I mean, it was a great moment.
Awesome. Thanks, Griffin. We'll go to Wilson Tarpey Jr. next. Wilson, go ahead.
Hey, Griffin, congrats again on the goal. Can you speak to the fearlessness it seems that all of you and your peers play with? Seems like when you guys come in, just the energy is crazy. And again, just to the fearlessness that it seems you guys play with.
Yeah, I think like I just kind of spoke on the confidence that, we all want to come in and not let the level drop at all. And not only let the level drop or stay the same, but we want to push it higher. That's kind of what being a sub is supposed to do. You're supposed to come in and raise the game. So I think, especially for the youngsters, we've all talked, we've all chatted, and we know that when you get into that game, the very first thing that you need to bring is energy that cannot be matched, because that needs to be the very first thing. And then, you can start to focus on the skill side of things and the other technical sides of the game. But the very first thing you need is energy and work. So I think that's kind of when you see us come into the game and we're just flying around. That's what's going on.
Thanks, Griff. We'll go to Jimena next. Jimena, go ahead.
Griffin, congratulations. What are you going to do to remember your first MLS goal? Are you going to get a picture frame, hold on to the cleats, or something special?
I think I'll hold on to this moment. I think I'll cherish this moment and I'll take, because it has been a grind. It has been a lot of work and it has been a lot of, emotional hours to get to this point. So I think I'll really just remember this feeling and cherish this feeling and know that, my work in the future will pay off.
Awesome, Griffin. I don't see any more questions, man. So thanks for the time and congrats once again.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Well, guys, we've talked a lot over the past couple of shows about having a young team with a lot of homegrowns, with a lot of, promise. And for the last few weeks, the results haven't been there. But boy, on a night like tonight, hearing Coach Olsen talk a lot about the homegrowns and of course, the moment for Griffin Yao, I think this is what we're all excited about deep down, and to see it, come to fruition tonight. Obviously, there's only a point, but man, it's so exciting to hear from Griffin in a moment like that.
He was really feeling himself. He felt so confident. I think he spoke really well. I think he had really great answers.
The adrenaline still hasn't gone down.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Might be a while.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah, but I said it before, but I just loved hearing him talk about that moment with Paul. It was really cute that he felt that energy from it.
And he was worried about the ACL too, by the way. It wasn't just me.
No, I think he was worried about Paul outrunning him.
But I think it's great that Paul is taking an interest in the young guys on the team, right? And we've talked a little bit about it in the past. Paul just signed a new deal. Obviously, he's very committed to this team, and you can see that passion. So I mean, that almost made me more excited for him to come back because he's just going to like tear it up on the field.
No, I'm with you 100%, Sam. I mean, that's one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about with Paul, and especially when the video went viral after the win over the Red Bulls. I am convinced that Paul loves DC United, and just
absolutely.
seeing moments like this, I mean, those are the guys you want on your team, the heart and soul. And we've talked too about like, who do you need out there, to really lead on the field, and that could be a Paul Arriola, just the perfect role for it.
Yeah.
But I teased it before we went to the player interviews. We got to talk about the striker situation here. So obviously Ola Kamara, a big goal tonight, and I think a much needed goal for him tonight, just from a confidence perspective.
Yeah.
So that was huge, and it was early, 5th minute. But DC United today announced the signing of Yordy Reyna from the Vancouver Whitecaps on $400K of 2021 GAM. So we're spending future Garber bucks for player. Look, whatever.
Yeah.
DC United
It's
obviously
all the fake trading rules.
Yeah. The club holds the option for 2021. We talked last show about trading away an international spot. Well, we got one back in this deal so that he can sit in it. And, of course, if DC retain him or trade him or transfer him on, Vancouver will receive some considerations from that. But we've got Rivas, who started again tonight. We've got Kamara that scored tonight. And we still had minutes for Sorga tonight, who obviously made a name for himself against the Red Bulls. So it's all of a sudden a fascinating striker situation for DC United.
Yeah, and I feel like I tweeted out from the show account that he's only 18 away from my prediction of 20 goals this year. Obviously, we know that's not going to happen, but it was so good to see him get that one from the run of play. He created it himself. He steps to Omar Gonzalez, who has lost a step over the years, but. And then he finishes it himself, and Westberg gets a hand on it, but it was put away. And we've seen Ola in position
a couple times,
and I was worried because the last 2-3 times. But he puts it away, puts enough on it that Westberg's hand doesn't do enough to keep it out of the post, and it goes in. Super good for him. I don't think DC United gave him the man of the match, and we'll get to ours later. But I don't think he was that great. I don't think he was the best player on the field for DC United. Rivas, I like the things he does, but I don't think he's it either. He's a lot better than I thought he would be. Looking at his resume and the product on the field, it's a little bit of difference there.
Yeah, I don't know if Rivas is going to be that like big time number 9 for DC United, but he's comfortable on the ball. He gets in the right positions, and I think if he can get a couple shots in a game, I think it's going to be exciting to see.
He got a few today, but they just weren't on target.
Yeah. So just speaking generally, I think that. Pretty obviously that our striker is our most worrisome spot, right? So I think having so much competition for that spot is only going to help this team, and it's only going to help the goals that come in. Hopefully many, many more. We're kind of opening the floodgates, but I think that just them fighting and competing for minutes, obviously Ben is willing to switch it up based on what he sees like that week during practice. He's been very open about how much stake he puts into what he sees in practice. So I think if they're pushing each other and then they're getting better and then DC United is winning from that, we're definitely like seeing the fruits of that labor. So I think it's promising. I think I'd love to see depth in some of the other positions.
Yeah.
It's especially seeing Abu go down. Like it's startling that we have so many people in this position, and then we have. I mean, it's all due to injury, obviously, mostly due to injury, but. Of all the positions on the field, I'm like thankful that we do have that competition in striker right now, because I know that we have other very key strong players who are coming back into some of the positions that are right at this moment lacking depth.
I hope we didn't mention him just now, but I hope Sorga continues to get a shot. He keeps coming on and creating things.
I thought he didn't miss a winner by much there at the end. I mean, that was a great shot in very little space, and also just minimal minutes, right? I mean, and this kid is continuing to bring a spark off the bench. So as excited as I am to have more competition around that space, like that's a guy that I hope continues to get opportunities. I agree with you there for sure. But I guess we should talk about the negatives. I don't know. Maybe we'll start a new segment on the show, John's Doghouse, where I'm putting a player I'm frustrated with.
It's Yamil Assad every single week.
Well, it is. And longtime listeners are going to know that I've been frustrated with Yamil all season long. And I don't know what happened to Yamil. I don't know if
He
it
didn't
was
play for a year.
Well, right. We know he didn't play for a year, and I'm gonna try to talk, this week at some media availability, see if we can get Coach Olsen's thoughts. He just seems so unpolished out there, and I don't remember that being a key trait of him when he was with us, before in 2018.
This is not the Atlanta Assad that we got, and the Assad that we saw score at Audi Field to open it or be the first goal for DC United at Audi Field. It's a very different Yamil. And I guess it's that time off. I don't know. When he left and TT came, it felt almost similar, like those players.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I so wish we had TT still.
Yeah.
Because he
and I think we were
pace and
disappointed in
danger.
TT at the end of last season. Like we weren't
no,
clamoring to re-sign him.
Right.
But this is a step down for sure.
Yeah.
Just some of the things Yamil does out there, I continue to get just beside myself. I think Olsen, very fair point tonight of Kevin deserved some time off to not start. But I'd love to see Yamil take a seat on the bench midweek and bring Paredes back in. It's just it's not working right now.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I don't know what he's doing out there. I look to the opposite side of the field. If I see a problem, I look at the opposite side, see what's happening there, and then compare. If I look to the right, and Gressel is there. And Gressel's not going to get in behind or replayers, but he's providing service. That's what he's doing.
Yep.
Assad is doing neither right now.
It feels like he's in the way a lot of the time.
I'd say that he gets the ball, and then we end up losing the ball. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he almost scored tonight. To say all these things that I'm frustrated about, he did almost score, but then he had an absolute howler.
Also almost broke my window.
I mean, I'd love to hear, listeners' thoughts on this. Maybe you guys are seeing something with Yamil that we're not. I mean, obviously, the guy was out of the game for a while, and that's tough. But it's even in a weird 2020 year. It is now September. This is now probably. Are we in double-digit games yet? We're close. So, anyways, if you're out there, you're listening, let us know in the chat or call the show at 202-892-6328. That's 202-892-6DCU. You can call or text. And of course, continue to send us your thoughts using the hashtag #TriedAndTrueDCU.
So I wonder, I'm going to pose the question back to you all. Do you think it's this very defensive system that we're playing in? We heard from Emil, and he said that it was very hard to play in this system, and it was something that he wanted to see change so we could get more offensive opportunities. So do you think that you could chalk a little bit of his play up to our system in the way we've been doing so far this year, or do you think it's more than that?
I think you could make that argument when he first came here. We play very differently than Atlanta played when they won the title, and they changed play styles like 4 times, and we probably have as well. But we've always been a bit more defensive team, and he did fine the first time. Like, he wasn't lights out, but he wasn't this before.
Yeah, I think you could easily make that argument after the New York City game, right? When and that was, we heard from Emil right after that game. 100%. That's frustrating, and a player in his position is really not set up to succeed attacking wise in a system like that. But not tonight. He spent a lot of time on the ball tonight, even, and it largely resulted in giveaways and shots into the upper deck.
Let's step outside the doghouse. I want to give a shout to and look, I heard it pronounced like 4 times on the 4 different ways on the broadcast. So if you know,
we're gonna get clarity on
phonetically this. Put it in the chat if you like 100% sure, because I've heard it so many ways. I'm just gonna go COA. The man who started at right back. For
so
us
we're
tonight.
talking about Chris Adoiacham. I would say Adoiacham, right?
Yeah, I've always called him Chris Adoiacham.
Acham, because I was thinking about it, I couldn't think about how to do it.
We are going to get clarity on this week.
I thought he was brilliant at right back. He made some runs today, and I don't know if that's because he was playing with someone that wasn't Yamil Assad on the wing, but he made some overlapping runs, and he cut inside, and he had a cross that almost gets past the center back and finds a Kamara open on the back post. I was really, really impressed with what I saw. And we talked about this beforehand. Like, clearly Ben Olsen sees something in him. We just hadn't seen it in a game. And I felt like tonight was the first time I really saw COA do well.
Yeah, I was super impressed with him. I think one of the other things that, not to go back into the doghouse, but we were talking about Assad, and I'm skimming through the notes we took during the game. We do, and Sam, you got a lot of interactions on Twitter about this. We got to talk about the VAR decision after Yamil got elbowed in the face.
I have a lot of thoughts about this.
Yeah, so just kind of breaking it down, live. It was either Dave or Devin, I don't remember, but one of them shouted it pretty immediately. It was like it appears that he got elbowed in the face. He was down for a little while. They stopped play. Toronto actually kicked it out. It was a little bit of a delay before we went to the monitor. It was a long review at the monitor. They issued a yellow card as a result, which sounds like that's because they reviewed it for a red, deemed it wasn't a red, but it was a yellow, because obviously you can't go.
Which is my understanding. Yeah, you can't review for a yellow card, but if you're looking at a red card situation and deem it was a yellow card, then you can give the yellow. But honestly, I don't understand how that is this situation, because my understanding of the rules also is that basically anytime you touch the face, it's a red card. And I put it on Twitter, I think back to when Wayne Rooney got that red card, because basically he was taking a shot or whatever, and his backhand giving himself, form in taking the shot, just grazed someone's cheek or whatever, and he got a red card for that. And it was because he touched the face, and that's completely unexcusable. So to me, in reviewing that, it either needed to be a red card or nothing, because if you're giving a yellow, you're acknowledging the fact that he hit Assad in the face, in which it just automatically should have been a red card.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. Maybe they saw that, look, he wasn't trying to catch Assad in the face. I think he was trying to create space with his arm there. And so maybe it wasn't as malicious as the ref wanted it to be a red card. I don't know.
I mean, if Sam's interpretation is correct, which I believe it is, if you make any contact with the head area, it's a red card. Yeah. The laws just don't allow for the ref to make that interpretation. Like if he says that there's contact, it's a red card. Doesn't have a decision of intent, right?
That's my point.
That's how it should have played out. I was surprised. I'm also not terribly confident when DC United historically is a man
do we
up,
score
so
the second goal?
I don't know that the end result would have been much different. Also, Russell Canals just tweeted an incredible picture of Griffin Yao. We'll retweet it out here of him after he scored the goal, just on cloud nine. So that's a moment he will never forget.
So back to this red card. So it sounds like you all think it probably should have been a red card, but you're unsure.
It was a red for me,
about whether or not.
Yeah, it should have been.
We would have taken advantage of it.
I feel like it would have been I don't know. I'll give him a bit of a doubt. He was just trying to make a play on the ball.
I don't think
he wasn't trying to hurt Assad or anything.
Yeah.
If he would only got a yellow, and if there was the malicious intent there, it would have been absurd. But
so yeah, someone's pointing out it would be interesting to see the match report, what actually the yellow card was given for, because they have to report which law was violated to be given to give out the yellow card. So I think it would be very interesting to see what the reasoning behind that yellow card is.
Yeah, and the league could always come back midweek and make a determination like we saw happen with Felipe earlier this year.
That's another point. Sorry, just another point in the chat is basically saying that even if it wasn't intentional, you need to have control of your body. Right. Paraphrasing this, but you're an athlete and you need to know where your arm is and have an idea of where the other player is. And you can't just be throwing your arm back like that. It doesn't matter if you meant to hit him in the face or not.
Yeah, so zooming out a little bit, we have a question on YouTube from Carlos. How did we feel about the 4-4-2 formation tonight?
It feels like DC United of old. I liked the three center backs that we were running for a while, but it wasn't necessarily getting the results, and so sometimes you have to change it. So I think that's where I'm going to stand on this. I liked the three in the back, the five in the back that we were running. I follow another team that runs three in the back all the time, and I think it can be a good formation, and we saw spurts of that with DC United, but I don't think we have all the personnel to really run with that. You need to have three good center backs to do that, and we were putting Mora, who's not really a center back.
Yeah, that was exactly where I was going to go with that, right? Is I would love to see the three back come out again when Steve Birnbaum, as I'm blanking here, and when Steven's healthy again, right? And you can play three proper center backs, because I think Moore was set up to fail in that, and he did well enough, but he's not a proper center back.
Alternatively, we played a couple games with five in the back, and I thought that was really interesting because when you put someone like Gressel outside, he obviously can provide that defensive support, but he will go forward and get in that attacking. So you almost shift from 5 to 3 to 5 and back again.
Well, that's the the beauty of the 5 or the 3 with 2 wing backs is that
Yeah.
that wing back can go up the field and it can shift, and then you still have a 4 in the back with 4 defensive players. But like we said, we weren't getting that because it was like Moro is one of the center backs and Paredes is another. So they shift, and we have like 2 kind of defensive players.
Yeah. But I think I could see it, if like we're feeling really confident in Pines and Birnbaum comes back, like maybe they do play kind of 3 in the back and we have that shifting. And I'd always love to see it on the sheet as a 5 in the back because that's kind of what they're defaulting to. And I think it's DC United. We're a very defensive team. That's going to be the default. But I mean, I would love to see that happen if we kind of get all our pieces back.
Another aspect of the 4-4-2 is that Kamara wasn't on an island today, and that was great. Him and what does he want to be called? Khan or the story? Yeah, there's a whole article. But Rivas. For now until we read up on that story. They didn't have the greatest interplay together, but there was at least someone there for the play that wasn't.
Well, yeah, and to be fair, totally agreed. And Rivas has been here for a week. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's only a matter of time before they build more of that. But yeah, I think the 4-4-2, it was DC United of old that came to mind to me as well, for better or worse, right? But no, it was exciting, and I think it was across the board good usage of the subs tonight. I mean, I think really the only sub that Ben would not have wanted to make was having to take Abu off because he was hurt. I mean, Abu was having another really good game, before that injury. Yeah. But Moses looked good, coming in as well. I'm happy for him getting some quality minutes too. I was getting a little worried he almost gave away a PK there at one point, but
yeah,
we were good.
Just to get back to the question on formation, I think Ben has been very transparent in all of the press conferences we've seen. And if you don't follow us on Twitter, I'd encourage you to do so because we live tweet the pregame press conferences are usually 2 days before the games. We live tweet highlights from those, and he's very transparent in the fact that the lineup is being dictated by who's available right now. And that's hard, but I like it better than if he stuck to a plan and tried to fit players into a plan that didn't work, right? Like we saw that a little bit with New York City. Players were obviously frustrated with that, and we've shifted out of that, and it's been working for us. We've been playing a lot better. But if he just tried to force all the players into his ideal lineup,
right,
if we didn't have any injuries right now, like I don't think that would be pleasant to watch either.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we'll see. I hope it feels like it's a revolving door because I feel like we see people go down every single game.
Yeah.
But hopefully, the other side of that revolving door starts to swing back, and we get some of these get some of these guys coming back.
Well, it feels like Birnbaum's been day to day for weeks now, so I'm really hopeful that we can see him.
He was out training, I think, what we saw.
Yeah, he's got to be close, and that's going to be a huge boost, even just to give whether it's Fred at first because he's been playing all season, or Donovan a break. At first if we keep 4 in the back, right, and then. You see what happens from there. But, I mean, Steven is a leader on the field. He's worn the armband for a while now, so that's huge,
back.
too.
And something we haven't even touched on, which is shocking to me right now, but Bill was back.
That's where I was going next to. I know, yeah, so Bill's back.
Yeah, and I think it was more of the same. I don't feel like he skipped a beat, even though our hearts probably skipped a beat when we saw him missing so many games in a row.
Yeah.
He's just like one of the best athletic goalkeepers in the league, and he showed that tonight. 2 go by him, and I don't know if you can really blame him for either. I know Sam will try on the header.
I think he almost got a hand to it. I would have liked to see him get a hand to it. I also think that the defense needed to do better. I'm not solely placing that on Bill's shoulders. I think everyone could have taken a step up and prevented that ball
you heard
from
him talking
going in.
On set pieces, and we did not give up a set piece goal tonight, right? I think
we did not give up a set piece goal.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
So I mean, and you can hear him on those set pieces yelling at people. I heard him yelling at Kamara like every single time.
Yeah.
Who's on the other side of the field. So it's great to have him back, and he's a bright spot for DCU. I hope he never leaves.
Yeah, no, that was when I said that in the moment. That was not by any means me placing the blame directly on Bill's shoulders. It was just me wishing everyone had stepped it up because I feel like that goal was very preventable. I think obviously Pines, the goal that he gave up was very preventable, but honestly, like that solely rested on Pines' shoulders, right? Like once he made that mistake, there wasn't a whole lot anyone could do around him to rectify it because it was right in front of the goal. But for that second goal, I think everybody could have stepped up and had any one of the players really in the box or when it was being sent in, just stuck in attack a little harder or put their body in a little bit of a different position, then it wouldn't have been a goal.
Agreed, and I think with that we've actually talked about literally every position on the field tonight. Listen, we've got to award man of the match. Who wants to go first?
Oh, I'll go first because I feel like it's going to be the same name every time. It's got to be Griffin Yao. He came on at the half, and you heard it in the press conference, but he played a number of different positions. He came on for Abu, who was playing center mid, and in the 4-4-2, but they probably weren't even in that formation because it seems very fluid.
But we were surprised it wasn't Kevin coming in, right? Because we felt like he probably
I think the Kevin was because he's gotten a lot of minutes.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
But yeah, it's surprised that Yao was coming in, especially for a position that we're not sure he can play. But I think also
I actually would have expected because Yao came on at half, right?
For
Abu. I would have expected Nyman to be the kind of one sub.
I think Ben used the versatility of Gressel, pushed him inside and put Yao on the wing there, but it looked really good. He took his chances, 2 shots on target, especially since he was playing right wing back for a lot of that. A great shot, and man, that is a special strike that we just saw to get us a point against. And I love that he went in with it or went along with this whole Toronto beef thing. I like it. He's my man of the match tonight.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that, and I'm very against just giving man of the match to the person who scored the last goal, right, or who scored any goal, but I think that he did the work off the field. I think he was doing defensive work. I think he created a lot of opportunities. There were a lot of runs and plays we saw that we were like, wait, that was Yao, good for him.
Yeah.
Like, he had a lot of really special moments in that game, and I'm glad that he was able to capitalize on the whole feeling of the game with that goal, and it was a phenomenal goal. It was really well struck. I love that he gave props to the coaching staff to kind of tell him where to be. I thought that was great. But yeah, definitely is my man of the match.
I thought that was nice to hear too, just because the DC United's coaching staff takes a lot of heat from the fan base, and so to me it was kind of cool to just hear hey, this is very directly before I came on in this game. I was told to do that thing, and
it led to a
he
goal.
made the play,
You're right.
Of course. But it's got to be Griffin Yao for me as well. But you guys broke it down very well. He was one of 2 players that I was super super excited about tonight. The other one Joshua talked a lot about was Chris Aduiachim, who I thought made a number of impressive plays. So it would have been Chris until about the 88th minute of that game, and then Griffin pushed himself across the line.
Chris did have a lot of great. I'm thinking about one specifically when he took the ball up the line and then cut in the middle, right? Yeah. I loved seeing that from him. You love seeing him get more minutes after being out for so long. And I think that's a really good shout, John.
Yeah, thanks. And I think the team, just as a whole, I mean, Griffin had some similar really comfortable touches, right on the end line in the attacking third and even into the box too. And then of course, setting up potentially a winner for Sorga as well. So I just think across the board, this team looks more comfortable. And I said, kind of to open the show, I think this team is really making meaningful progress now.
Yeah.
And on top of just how decimated they are with injuries, that's a good place to be.
Yeah, you don't need to be good in MLS till the end of the season. And we have basically half a season left to go.
And all jokes about the playoffs, right? Almost everybody gets in.
Yeah, I think this is not where we want to see this team end by any means. I think there's so much progress to go forward on. Yeah, but I think you're right, justify, we have made strides in our past 3 games. We started pretty low. We've made significant strides forward each game. So I would hope that we continue making those strides forward and just explode in this league and really hit our stride towards the end of the season.
I think we got to hope for it. I don't want to rain on the parades, but we are 13th in the East with this result, but we're tied on goal differential with 12th and 11th. And as John kind of mentioned, you get the 10th spot, you're in the playoffs, and gosh knows if we can get all our players back, then something can happen. You're right, Sam. We could be in a lot worse shape with what's happened to the circumstances of this team. I don't mind watching games like this. It's disappointing when we give up 2 goals at home, but at least there is the things to build off. Nyman plays, Yao plays, Paredes plays, and different strikers are getting chances. It's a positive. I want to end the podcast like this because this is the positive note. This is what we're looking forward in the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 games left in what I'm calling leg 4 of MLS 2020. We don't know what leg 5 looks like just yet. We know that there should be a significant chunk of games compared to the previous legs we've released. But yeah, I mean, there's 2 very winnable games left, right? I mean, Nashville is an expansion club. They've had their ups and downs. They're dangerous, but that's a winnable game. And then New England is a team that we've seen twice this year already, and it feels like we really owe them one. So I think both of those games are winnable for DC United, or at least points are going to be for the taking. And we'll see who we get in the final stretch. Obviously, I said to you guys earlier, I hope Miami's back on the schedule this year, just so we can see the Higuains go at it.
Keepable.
That's funny.
Yeah, so looking around the league, Sam, you noted here, and I actually think I might have. No, I did not miss this week, but you've probably got more details. The Black Players Coalition working with the MLS to exercise the right to vote.
Yeah. I wasn't super clear reading it whether it's just like the MLS headquarters offices or all the club's offices, but essentially at least the MLS like headquarters and any of their kind of periphery offices are going to be shut on November 3rd to allow for their employees to vote and volunteer at the poll if they want to, which is awesome. And it had a list of things that specific teams were doing to help educate about how to get registered to vote, to encourage people to get out there and vote. DC United was not on that list yet, but it did specifically say that there were still teams like figuring out the exact efforts that they wanted to do. I haven't checked. This was announced I think midweek, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I admittedly haven't checked back to see if DC United has announced what they've been doing, but I am excited for that announcement if it hasn't come out yet, and I'm excited to educate myself if I missed it. But I just think it was worth noting that they worked with the Black Players for Change, and they're making strides and, really trying to educate. And obviously we know that people of color have a harder time voting. There's a long history of voter suppression in this country, and it's not necessarily just in the past. We definitely still see it today. So it's great that MLS is just trying to make that change and working with players and listening to where they wanted efforts to be directed and then directing those efforts there to actually be positive within the communities that MLS is involved in.
Yeah, important stuff. And obviously I don't recall if the date was empty when the original schedule came out so long ago for the season, but with leg 5 yet to be announced, that gives the league a very deliberate opportunity to not have games that day, right?
Yeah.
And just really, allow for that day to be reserved for voting. Another important initiative, obviously Dave, Devin, and Claudia were rocking it today during the game, but Kick Childhood Cancer, which Sammy tweeted about earlier in the week, but using the hashtag, look at that on the throwback Mullins shirt. But using the hashtag Kick Childhood Cancer and providing a message of hope. Is it Continental Tire that's donating a certain amount of money per tweet, which is just a really easy way to.
I think so. I think it's like $25 a tweet.
It's significant.
It's like a significant amount of money, and it's very easy to just send a tweet out. With a message of hope, just saying like, hey, you got it. These messages are going to be read to children who are fighting cancer, which is just so horrific, right? You hate to hear that anyone's fighting cancer, but especially a kid. This is quite literally the easiest thing you can do to help them.
Yeah, and while you're doing it, if you're taking a moment while you're listening to the podcast, listening to us live, to send out a tweet, please take a moment to also, in the words of Joshua Morgan, smash the like button for our podcast.
Please no.
As well as subscribe to us on YouTube, subscribe to us on your favorite podcatcher, and tell your friends, right? I mean, this is our way of decompressing after the game sometimes, or prolonging the celebration after a late goal.
We also love hearing from everybody, right?
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is like a fan-run podcast, and we obviously talk about this just all the time because we're friends, but we love hearing the differing points of view coming in. And we've had such steady comments in both YouTube and Twitter, and we try to address a lot of them. We've gotten a lot of text messages, and we've gotten to talk to a lot of people that we wouldn't have spoken to otherwise. And we've gotten to hear a lot of different opinions that we wouldn't have brought ourselves. So love that. And keep it up.
Yeah, and things are looking up for this team. It was hard for us the last couple shows to say that, but I firmly believe that we're moving in the right direction, at least this season and overall. And tonight we had the game on one of the other TVs, Loudoun, and a bit of a heartbreaker.
Oh man,
1-0 loss tonight to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a good team. They're already in the playoffs, and they kept a clean sheet for 80 minutes tonight. But it's been a tough year for Loudoun, and we've talked a bit about that on the show before about. In the year of coronavirus, getting players to come in and play for Loudoun has been a challenge, but they're always fun to watch. They were fun to watch again tonight, defending, and they can't escape the late red card, so that's going to continue to plague them. But they play again next Saturday against Charleston away. The Spirit are back in action next Saturday against Chicago on the road. And, of course, as we mentioned, DC United play Nashville Wednesday night at 8:30. It's gonna be a late night for us, but we'll be here doing the thing. So
Hope
please
you all
listen.
are here with us. Yep.
and definitely a good night to give our partners at Across the Pond a little bit of business using the promo code podcast for 5% off your order, and get some great food. They got the Giants watch party tomorrow. Now that the NFL's back, I can plug that too. We're gonna play better than we did on Monday.
But yeah, Across the Pond, you can eat in if you're comfortable with that. They have both indoor and ample outdoor seating. If you're not comfortable with that, totally understand. You can go pick it up. You can get it delivered. That promo code works for everything. So
yeah, Joshua, what did we miss?
Just positive vibes. Just replay the Yao goal all week. That's what I'm gonna do.
I don't even know if I heard the official "it's in the net" call because I was yelling so much. So we'll have to go back and check it out. Hey, thanks for spending your the waning hours of your Saturday night with us, and we'll talk to you guys real soon on Wednesday for DC United versus Nashville. And we'll talk about how badly we wanted to be there this year for the what could be one of the best away days on the other side of COVID-19. It's been Tried and True, the DC United Postgame podcast presented by Heineken.